Hello and welcome to today's Improving Talk session. We will start this webinar in a couple of more minutes. Please hang in there while we wait for more people to join the fun. Thank you for being here. Okay, we're almost hitting the 2-minute mark. It's time to get the show on the road. Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we continue our Data Month at our Improving Talks initiative. My name is Armando Lopez, and I am very happy that you could join us today. I'm also super excited to welcome our first improvers, but certainly not our last, from South America to host one of these sessions. Paloma Olivera, Francisco Vaccaro, and Sergio Fermanelli. Let's talk a little bit about them. Paloma Olivera works on the intersection of UX and data visualization. She loves helping users find insights faster and making dashboards more intuitive and efficient. She also loves exploring new design trends, especially from different cultures like the Nordic and Mexican ones. Paloma is a true foodie, and when not designing, you'll find her meditating or spending time with her 2 furry kids, Mezcal and Macchiato. Francisco Vaccaro is a UX designer with a strong background in digital product design, data visualization, and AI-driven experiences. With years of experience crafting intuitive user interfaces and interactive applications, he thrives on turning complex ideas into seamless, engaging experiences. He is passionate about cycling, drinking coffee, and enjoys gaming on weekends. He also shares his home with a curious and playful cat named Bjorn. And finally, last but not least, Sergio Fermanelli has been working in IT for more than 25 years. His last 10 projects have been related to data, the majority data viz, trying to bring value out of one of the most important asset companies have today, which is data. Outside work, he loves spending time with friends and outdoors activities, and he has a passion for plants. I am extremely honored to welcome them today with their webinar, Visualizing the Complex, a delicate dance of trade-offs. Please remember, you can use our Q&A feature so you can ask them any questions during their webinar, and they will answer at the end in their Q&A feature. And now I leave you with Paloma, Francisco, and Sergio. The microphone is yours, my friends.
Okay, thank you. Welcome, everyone, and thanks, Armando, for hosting. We are really happy to have you here, join us here today to discuss about the challenges that you may encounter while working on data visualizations. So again, my name is Sergio Fermanelli. I specialize more in the technical side of data visualizations, scalability, performance, and governance. Here with me, again, as Armando mentioned, we have Paloma and Francisco.
Yes, thanks, Armando, for the warm introduction, and welcome, everyone. Thanks, Sergio. I'm Francisco, UX and product designer. It's great to be here and share the discussion with Paloma and Sergio, 2 great friends and coworkers with whom we have been working side to side through these years in a lot of amazing projects. For me, database isn't about charts, it's about solving problems, so it's great to be here with people that I like.
As Armando said, I am Paloma. My main role in the company is a UX designer, but I'm currently managing a project in South America. I'm really happy to be part of this webinar and to talk about something we're passionate about, data visualization. Not only is it fascinating, but it has also given me opportunities to work with these 2 amazing professionals as Francisco and Sergio.
Awesome. So let's get started let's try to understand why this is more just on making really charts look nice. Initially, creating data visualizations isn't just about selecting what charts and graphs to use. It's about solving real-world challenges. In all the years working together with Paloma and Francisco, we encountered many obstacles while working on such projects, varying from performance, scalability issues, user experience challenges, tooling choices, and data governance.
Yes, and on top of that, we found that handling large data sets, optimizing queries, and ensuring real-time responsiveness is crucial to maintaining fast and reliable dashboards. At the same time, UX and accessibility play a major role in making data intuitive and engaging without overwhelming users.
Maybe you're wondering, why is UX approach important? From a UX perspective, if a visualization isn't accessible, many users might struggle to use it effectively. Sorry. In fact, the most visually appealing option isn't always the best one, but that doesn't mean data visualization has to be boring. It just means that from a UX standpoint, we need to consider a whole picture.
Yes, so now let's take a closer look at these challenges in more detail, both in terms of visualization and the technical aspects behind it. So starting off, we can ask ourselves, what is data visualization? I think it's important to start this webinar saying that database is more than just pretty charts. It's about communicating information effectively to build the story we want to tell. One thing that seems simple but is actually tricky is choosing the right chart. For example, looking at data on a mobile screen is not the same as on a desktop, and some charts don't work well on small screens. If we want to use a heat map or a scatter plot, it can be too detailed and hard to read on a phone.
And beyond that, every chart should serve a purpose. As Franz said, not all charts are the same. For example, using a pie chart to show changes over time isn't the best choice. You'd be better off with bar or lines. In addition, we need to remember that every chart should clearly show one of three things: a change, a proportion, or a comparison. That's why we have to be careful when choosing the right one. If we pick the wrong chart, the data can become confusing instead of clear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and from the technical standpoint, some charts are more performance intense than others. For example, maybe using a heat map in real time with real-time updates can significantly impact load times.
Yes, so let's get to it. So why does data visualization matter? Well, some time ago, I read that the human brain processes visual information 60,000 times faster than text. It's pretty awesome and incredible, right? Because a well-designed chart delivers insights in seconds, allowing users to identify trends, patterns, and outliers quickly. This speed not only saves time, but also enables faster decision-making.
Yeah, but that's true, but only if the charts are optimized. Usually, slow rendering dashboards lose user engagement because people won't wait for the visualization to render.
Moreover, if they're not accessible, some users want to be able to use them at all. Inclusive design is not just about compliance. It's about thinking the experience better for everyone. But as I said earlier, it's not about making data boring. Is, in my opinion, is more than data visualization is a mix for art and science. In fact, at the beginning of this talk, we showed several chart examples, remember? That's because as UX designers, we must not forget their main goals, which is to present concrete data in a way the users can early understand and process.
Yes, exactly. It's like Paloma said, it's a mix of both. It's important to keep clarity in mind. Sometimes, as designers, we want to get really creative with dashboards, but this can make the information more complex than necessary and even affect performance. Let's not forget what Edward Tufte, the father of data visualization, once said: above all else, show the data.
Yeah, that's why having multidisciplinary teams is so important. We need to work together with designers, data analysts, developers, and project leads need to work together to create dashboards that are not only visually appealing, as we mentioned before, but also easy to interpret and highly optimized for performance.
Okay, so getting to the common pitfalls in data visualization, the challenge we encounter in a project like this are directly related to the type of dashboard we are building. A dashboard purpose, whether it's declarative or exploratory, conceptual, or data-driven, determines the challenge which the project will face when being worked on.
Yeah, another issue is the performance bottleneck. dashboards. Sometimes query-heavy dashboards can cause delays and frustrate users and make insights less actionable.
Yes, in my opinion, fundamental part of data visualization is accessibility. Let's not forget how important it is. Color should be never be the only way to show difference in data because not everyone perceives color the same way. Adding pattern, textures, and levels make information clear for all users. These small changes can make a big impact, ensuring that data is readable and inclusive for everyone. We'll dive deep into this later in this talk.
Now we're going to be talking about some challenges in more details. So one of the ones, and I think one of the major decisions we need to take when building dashboards is whether to use an off-the-shelf tool like Power BI or create a custom solution, whether using a well-established data visualization library or by building your own using, for example, D3 in combination with React.
Yeah. So, but what are the benefits of each type of tool? Well, like CAM solutions are quicker to implement, but restrict design options, making it harder to create unique experiences. On the other hand, custom-built solutions offer complete control over design and functionality, enable the development of dashboards tailored precisely to the user needs. While custom solutions provide greater flexibility, they require significant development time and expertise. CAM solutions, however, can be implemented rapidly and often come with pre-built features and integration, but they might not be a good match if there are specific project requirements or branding guidelines. In the slide, there are some questions you can ask yourself before making a decision.
Good point, Francisco. But at the end of the day, a tool is only as good as its usability. No matter how fancy or custom built it is, if the UX is bad, users will simply ignore it or worse, complain about it. And that's why teamwork is key. Designers, developers, analysts, leads, whatever, need to work together, testing and improving as many times as needed until everything flows smoothly.
Right. Based on past experiences, for example, one of our clients, one of the major streaming platforms, studios in the entertainment industry, approached us to create solution using a hybrid approach, meaning embedding Power BI reports into a custom web application. So this was maybe not the best choice from our point of view, but we ran a couple of iterations until maybe trying to find the sweet spot between using something off the shelf and with some customization. But in the end, based on the requirements we had in terms of performance, usability, and others, we decided to go full custom.
Okay. So getting to the challenge number 2, we have UX and accessibility. In the beginning of this talk, Paloma mentioned accessibility as one of the key elements in database. You remember? So going back to that, I want to highlight that dashboards need to be clear, intuitive, and easy to navigate. The user should never feel lost in a sea of data. In the end, integrating accessibility standards into dashboard design not only ensures inclusivity, but also enhances overall visual clarity and user engagement.
No, I've brought this up before, but accessibility is not just about colors or texture. It's about making sure everyone can actually use the data. That means that keyboards navigation, high contrast, and alternative text labels should be the norm, not just afterthought. If you want to learn more about it, WCAG 2.2 is a great resource. It's basically the holy grail of accessibility guidelines.
Great. So yeah, definitely from the performance standpoint, we even need to think about animations and all the interactions. to avoid slowing down the rendering speed. Again, based on past experience, one of our clients, big in the payment processing area, approached us to start creating some visualizations for them. So we found ourselves implementing charts over and over. So it was only natural for us to suggest creating a data visualization or enhancement, including data visualization components for them that later became the de facto for the organization. Also, in one of our clients, big in the mortgage industry, we've been helping them with their design system. And a couple of years back, they approached us to create or to incorporate in the design system components for data visualizations. In both cases, we incorporated some features to support screen reader and other assistive technologies, contrast and fill patterns, resize reflow, and zoom up to 200%. So in the end, we ended up with charts that not only seamlessly integrate with other products in both companies, but also are accessible. Another example is for one of our other clients, big in, it's a movie theater chain. They decided to stick with an off-the-shelf solution. So we created a minified version of their design system consisting of layouts, core fonts, spacing. So we did this just to come up with the consistency across the different reports. We also had to migrate existing ones, and we created new ones following these guidelines. Okay, so next we're going to be talking about performance and scalability. So both are crucial in data visualization. As data sets grow larger and users demands increase, dashboards must remain fast, efficient, and responsive. However, there are several challenges that can impact performance. Some of those are on the screen right now. So big data can slow down queries and impact real-time processing. On-the-fly calculations and inefficient queries can degrade also the performance. Also, the number of users trying to access the dashboards concurrently can cause slowdowns. And last but not least, the too many charts sometimes is not the best answer. Some too many charts or widgets make dashboards cluttered and harder to use.
Yeah. So, but what can you do from the design perspective to solve this? Well, we can apply something like loading states and progressive rendering. This can help significantly to users feel like the system is responsive even when working with large datasets. Loading states, such as spinners or progress bars, provide visual feedback to the user, assuring them that the system is actively working and the data is being fetched. This prevents confusion and frustration that might arise from a seemingly unresponsive interface. Progressive rendering takes this a step further by displaying data as it becomes available, rather than waiting for the entire dataset to load. This allows users to start exploring and gaining insights from the visualization sooner, even if some details are still loading in the background.
Of course, that's key. As Fran said, progressive visualization won't actually speed things up, but they let users know everything is working as it should. And let's be honest, nobody likes feeling lost in a digital experience. The ultimate goal from a design perspective is to guide and support the user throughout the process. In my opinion, the user perspective is just as important that data itself. But now, Sergio will talk about some of the solution we've developed.
Right. One of our clients, big in the payment processing area, once approached us to create a solution to analyze the impact of the COVID-19 on the online transaction volume, and also to create a visualization to analyze fraudulent transactions. And all this information was geo-referenced. So the amount of information we had, the requirements, and expectations in terms of performance force us to think about multiple or improvements at different levels. So we decided to go with a full custom backend solution and choose a database that is suitable for analytics like Druid that supports subsecond operations. And also different caching mechanism, in that case using Redis. With that, we were able to comply with the complex analysis users wanted to do with the data, the online transaction data they had. For another client, again, they decided to stick to off-the-shelf solution, and the performance was not the best. So we are helping them move the business logic and processing operations that today are in Power BI using DAX and semantic models to, we're working closely with their data organization, implementing ETL processes to move that from the kind of presentation layer to the data warehouse. Okay, so another key point in data visualization is it not only needs to be useful, the data needs to be secure and properly governed. Without policies around, dashboard can expose misleading and sometimes inaccurate or even sensitive information.
Yes, exactly. So imagine the following scenario. So you log into the dashboard and there are like two different reports with conflicting numbers, but for the same KPI. So which one do you trust? Without centralized governance, teams define metrics differently, leading to confusion and delays. A well-governed system ensures standardized KPIs so users can trust the data and focus on insights instead of verifying numbers.
It also affects design and accessibility. Without a clear design system, dashboards feel messy and harder to navigate. But when organizations use standard visuals and accessibility features, everything becomes more intuitive and user-friendly. Governance is not just about accuracy. It's about make data clear, accessible, and easy to use for everyone.
Right. Yeah, again, based on past experience with one of our clients in a movie theater chain with presence in the US and Latin America. Because of the nature of their business, they had different data standards or location in each country. And then they had users creating reports out of these data that they had locally, and sometimes with different business rules or business interpretations. So it was really hard for this company to compare metrics between different countries, and maybe for upper management to have a holistic view of the operation in the Latin America region. So we help them, we are working with them to ingest all these data into their data lake and implement ETL processes to move these data up to the data warehouse and the reporting layer. The end result is that every user producing a report based on predefined metrics is going to show the same information, and it's going to be easier for senior management to have a holistic view of the operation in the region. On top of that, we, as we mentioned before, we redesign all the reports following the minified version of the design system, or the guidelines and design system we created for them.
To wrap up, one key takeaway from today is that data visualization needs to be fast and easy to use. If it's slow, users will struggle with delay making decision, making harder. That's why things like query optimizations, caching, and pre-aggregated data help keep dashboard running smoothly. But speed isn't everything. UX and accessibility are just as important. A good dashboard should have a clear layout, simple navigation, and interactive elements that help users explore the data easily. Besides, adding features like high contrast color, patterns, and screen reader support are essential to make sure everyone can use it.
Yes, so now we have talked about speed and usability, let's move on to selecting the right tools to build the dashboards that fit business requirements. So choosing the right tool is a key decision based on our experience. BI tools are great for fast deployment and pre-built features, but sometimes custom solutions provide the flexibility needed for complex visualization. Understanding these trade-offs helps teams make the right choice for their needs. Once the tool is selected, data governance is essential to ensure consistency and security. Without proper governance, teams risk inconsistent KPIs, conflicting reports, and security vulnerabilities. Also, centralizing data sources and enforcing access control with roles, encryption, and compliance monitoring keep dashboard reliable and secure. With tools and governance in place, we also need to ensure that data pipelines are scalable and built for long-term reliability. Now, Serge will share more details about it.
Right. Yeah. Well-designed dashboards is also need scalable and maintainable data pipelines, which means shifting from maybe silo or traditional pipelines to more modern and automated data flows. This will ensure that we have consistent data, so whoever is using data is going to be consistent, available, and efficiency. So modern ETL processes and cloud-based solutions help organizations scale their dashboard, but without breaking performance. Of course, we need to always be mindful of the costs associated with the cloud services, but they will scale easily. So, and finally, one thing that you heard us mention over and over is that we can't overlook non-functional requirements. So addressing performance, usability, security, accessibility, and governance expectations early in the process will prevent costly reworks down the line. So if these factors are ignored at the start, teams may face really major roadblocks in the middle of the project, forcing redesigns just to meet expectations. So with that, that's the end of our presentation today. And so as you can see, we can help with everything that entails data visualization projects, whether it's processing data, designing a design system or components, or even using off-the-shelf tools. So thanks again for staying with us today. So I'm not sure if we have any question, Armando.
This has been awesome, guys. Thank you. And yes, we already got some questions through Teams. If someone else from the audience wants to ask anything, please, you can use the Q&A feature. Okay, the first one. So in the end, after everything that you guys talked about, do you think the viable option is to use a custom-built solution?
I'll take this one. So yeah, I think the answer is not an easy one. So there's no right or wrong answer. So because as we mentioned, whereas BI tools like Power BI or Tableau are great for quick development, so you can experiment really quickly and test ideas. Data visualizations, libraries like charts, or even custom solutions like we build for our clients using D3 and React are often more flexible. And so the answer will really depend on the project needs. So maybe, as we mentioned, trying to determine what would be the best approach, you need to ask yourself how complex is your data. Maybe think about the how much customizations you want to implement. What are the scalability or performance requirements? This is also important, and we mentioned this throughout the presentation a couple times. So I think one of the requirements that we've been neglecting for so long are the WCAG criterion. So you need to understand if you need to comply with one of the WCAG conformance levels. You need to think about it early in the flow. And definitely, what is the budget and maintenance capacity for the teams? It's fundamental. So maybe by answering these questions early, you can determine if the VI tool meets your needs, and that's fine. Otherwise, you need to start thinking about maybe choosing a custom solution instead. Not sure if that answered the question.
Yeah, it sure did. Very interesting stuff, Sergio. Thank you. And now we have another one. How can I know what chart type to use for the information I want to show? This one's interesting.
Yeah, so I can take care of that one. Well, I think choosing the right chart depends on basically the type of dashboard you want, on the story you want to tell. I think one of the great framework that it helped a lot to us is the Verinatus framework. Based on him, dashboard tend to fall into 4 categories. For example, we have declarative and conceptual, that it's used to basically explain ideas and processes like frameworks or strategy maps. Then you have declaratives and data-driven, basically present fixed insights like KPI dashboards or maybe financial reports. Then you have the exploratory and conceptual, like it's used for brainstorming and hypothesis testing. You can maybe the mind maps can fall into that category. And then you have exploratory and data-driven. This like type of dashboard helps users discover patterns in large datasets, for example, like interactive analytics tools. But based on that type of dashboard, basically you can choose different charts to tell the story you want to show. Line charts, for example, are useful for trends over time. Bar charts for comparison. Pie charts también also can be used for proportions. But for pie charts, you might want to avoid too many slices, but because it might tend to mislead the users, right? And then you have scatter plots for the relationship between variables, and then heat maps for density and pattern analysis. So basically, by identifying your dashboard type first, you can choose the right chart that best supports your data and user needs. There is also like a great library you can use to check different type of dashboards. I don't know if you heard of it, but it's basically the data visualization catalog. You have different type of charts, and if you click, for example, on a bar chart, you have basically the use of it and what it is best for, and also similar chart that you can use to avoid repeating the same dashboard over and over.
Thank you for this live demo, Francisco.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I still have a couple of more questions through Teams. So the other one says, how can I make sure my data visualization project is aligned with WCAG guidelines?
Okay, I'll take this one because it's closely related to the first one. So again, WCAG requirements, you need to think about the WCAG requirements, level AA. It's the kind of the middle conformance level. That aims at strong accessibility that includes all the level A requirements and some additional criterion. Some of them like color contrast and the logical structure of the information, consistent navigation. So I would say, but this is not limited to only these points. I would say that the accessibility principles like ensuring high contrast, a good contrast ratio between colors is fundamental. Use dual encoding. I think Francisco mentioned not just only use colors, but also field patterns to differentiate the data for colorblind users. Adding text labels, all text screen reader friendly descriptions for assistive technologies will help non-sighted users operate with your application. And also make sure that every interactive element is navigation via keyword and has a focus indicator. And finally, if definitely is a custom application, to test your development with tools like Core that will provide a report and will pinpoint the issues in your page. Definitely, the w3.org is a good reference for the WCAG standards. It's great for to get the details. Again, this is guidelines. It's not, you're not gonna find the recipe to resolve your problems, but definitely need to read carefully the requirements, understand the implications, and implement the solution you think best. There are tools, for example, tools to check the color contrast. Thank you, Francisco. If you are hesitant about what colors to use, if the, for example, if you're working with the off-the-shelf tool, and if it allows such customization, you may want to change the color ratios here, at least to be closer. Of course, sometimes the off-the-shelf tools fall short when it comes to resize, reflow, and zoom, which is a requirement, be able to support up to 200% zoom. So need to think again about the WCAG requirements or accessibility requirements you may have for your project. If you have any, or if you are mandated by regulations to have an accessible dashboard, definitely WCAG 2.2 is the starting point. And there are multiple tools that can help you evaluate for discrepancies or areas that you need to improve.
Awesome, Sergio. Thank you. And the last one I have in line, through Teams. Speaking of data visualization projects, what should we consider when adapting one of these data visualization projects to other screen sizes?
You're on mute, Paulo.
Okay.
Perfect.
Thank you. Thank you, Fran. There are some key approaches you might want to consider. Use responsive design to adjust layout dynamically. Prioritize import metrics on simply dashboard for similar screens. I don't know, Fran, carry on.
Yeah, and maybe also add touch interaction for mobile users can be useful when using dashboard in smaller screens. Then use adaptive labeling, like Sergio mentioned, to prevent text from becoming unreadable on different screen sizes. Then one important thing that it's really great that we can take care of is like ensuring font scalability. For example, using rim units or fonts instead of pixels to allow proper scaling with browser zoom, improving mostly readability across different devices and screen sizes. And then lastly, you should test probably across various devices to ensure a seamless experience, because as we know, the ratios tend to maybe move forward and there are new ratios coming up every day. So maybe like a well-designed dashboard should be just as effective on a phone as it is on a desktop. So maybe maintaining usability and readability across all screen sizes is a good approach.
Thank you, Paloma and Francisco. And now we had another one through our Q&A feature. What about visualizing data for something like a process flow? Oftentimes we use swim lanes to visualize this, though I'm sure there could be other ways. Asks Nicolas Otto.
Okay.
Yeah, I think from the UX perspective, I think going back to zoom capabilities is really useful for that type of charts, because in our experience, they tend to be really longer on the horizontal width. So maybe supporting great zoom capabilities can be a good usability option when applying this to different maybe screen sizes, or maybe trying to get a chart like this being responsive. Sergio?
No, sorry. Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
Yes.
I know if you had that answer.
Thank you for all of your awesome answers. Any last remarks, my friends? We're we don't have any more questions and we're almost there.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. Again, thank you, Armando, for organizing and hosting, having us today here. I hope everyone enjoy the conversation. If you want to reach out to us, you have our contact information on screen. You can search or contact us via LinkedIn. So again, thank you. And I hope you enjoyed the presentation today.
Yes, thank you. And thank you, and improving for the space.
Yes.
I want to thank you all for joining us today, but especially Paloma, Francisco, and Sergio. You guys killed it. I love being your producer. And coming up next week on March 26th, we will conclude this series with the webinar From Fragmented Knowledge to Unified Insights, the Power of Clean Data with Juan Cruz Fortunati. See you next week. Have a great rest of your day, everyone. Thank you, guys.